Well, yeah. The thing is, a lot of the perks of having it being sort of streamed instead of released on theaters is the fact that you could actually pause it and take a
Yeah.
breather, and I mean, you can have like you could watch it on an alternative manner instead of just a one straight run through. But I mean, the critics really love it. I mean, on Rotten Tomatoes, give it a 77. 95% loved this film according to Google users, and
Yeah.
compared to the Justice League, I think it was like 77 or something.
Yeah, people like this one more overall.
I mean, yeah, because this film is very much it's very much it has a soul. I think
Yeah. And
it's not
that's
it's not a
something
it's not a
missing.
blockbuster. It's not a blockbuster where like a bunch of like superhero characters band together versus one enemy. It's very much like a actually it's quite the opposite. Like they don't want to work together.
Yeah.
It's like a oh shit, I have no choice. I guess the only thing that remained like kind of the same is sort of like some of the characters' attitudes. But even then, most of the characters is sort of personalities changed more towards a more grounded level. Like if you
Yeah,
can,
and a lot of characters are completely retooled, I would
yeah,
say.
yeah,
Cyborg is the one that
yeah,
Cyborg and the Flash, completely
change. I
different
know. It's one of my favorite.
characters,
It,
completely.
it's one of my favorite things about the new version of it is the
Yeah,
fact
me
that
too.
they actually because I would characterize this as very much a cyborg film
Mhm.
because it's very much like his. I mean, if you watch the original Justice League, it's not really a spoiler. I mean, like he was created by one of the boxes,
Right.
and so like his ties towards the box is a lot deeper than the rest, and
Yeah.
so that's why I feel like sort of and also it's very much like the story of him and his father. It's kind
Yeah.
of like a Miles Morales, like like his uncle Aaron and him sort of relationship
Right.
where
A
like
bit of a family tale, a bit of a
yeah, they're kind of at odds, but they're not.
yeah.
In the end of the day, they're still family.
Yeah.
It's sort of like and also I feel like the story of the Flash made it a lot more interesting. Where Barry's character is a lot more sort of like he's aspiring to be better, and he's
Yeah.
not like a goofy like oh look he just runs.
Yeah, he aspires to be like the greatest.
Yeah,
It kind of closens him to the team in a sense
yeah.
because you feel like he wants to be there.
Like
He has
yeah,
something.
he sees them as family. Like it's like a sort of surrogate family since his dad was in jail.
Yeah, yeah. I really liked those scenes too that they added with him. What do you think about the treatment of Superman in this one?
I prefer it actually because it's very much focused on the relationship between them, Superman and Lois post Doomsday.
Right.
So the whole movie, like versus the original one, is sort of just like the original film is very much sort of like okay, it's just bring him back alive, and then
He shows up.
Superman will just show up and save the day.
He's back.
Whereas in this case, it's very much sort of like a slow burn, and like a you feel the mourning that Lois Lane and like Martha Kent had.
Yeah, you get to actually care about the fact that he's died before they bring him back.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like the last time was like sort of like oh he's back.
Oh, okay, he's back in the next one.
Because
Okay.
this is Thriller. Thriller night.
Basically. Oh, one thing I noticed also. So, a lot of criticisms from previous Snyder films was no humor. Everything was dead serious. It took itself maybe too seriously.
Sure.
That was some comments that I heard often about his work.
Yeah.
And then the not Snyder Justice League movie came out. Plenty of jokes, quips, very Marvel,
Yeah.
specifically early Avengers type of jokes.
Yeah.
This one does have jokes, but they're different kinds. You could tell that they're Snyder's jokes.
But I feel that's what I like about in this film is that because the original Justice League sort of made it just like a laughing gag the whole way through.
Yeah.
And so I feel like they try to make it a Guardians of the Galaxy meets Avengers type deal, where it's just like a bunch of people like Aquaman just joking around, like sitting on the lasso of truth and revealing his true thoughts.
Right.
Yeah, you have like Wonder Woman coming in like full force, like hey. I'm here. Like you can't do nothing anymore. It's kind of like a very like naughty naughty. And then you have Batman being like, oh, Superman's here. Oh, well, look what I got. I got Lois Lane in my car, bitch.
Uh,
It's so weird.
Batman was very strange in the first Justice League theatrical cut.
It doesn't make any. Yeah, like it's also
Very
like it's
strange.
yeah, it's very much like if it was the Joker that was in it. It was Joker's playing Batman the whole time.
Speaking of, so
Yeah.
you know that there are a lot of actors returning in this. I mean, once again, it's I if I understand correctly, most of the actors had to come back for some reshoots.
I think I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if they did reshoots in like I think I honestly have no idea. I think there was all there's certain scenes where they had to do like a completely different shot, like they actually
Like
reshot everything.
for the mustache, I'm thinking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had to have Henry Cavill come back.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about that?
CGI.
Basically, they got another shot at correcting their mistakes from the previous one.
I mean, I think also the depictions, like the I think it's mostly the facial expressions that the actors had, and that sort of completely changed the dynamic between the relationships between like the characters are trying to like sort of portray. And I feel like a lot of like there's so much like you know when you watch the film and you really compare it to the original one, you're just like, wow, it's a completely different movie. Like this one's very much more serious, more sort of like you feel the tension. You feel the fate, the stake of the earth. That's sort of like, okay, if this fucks up, it's done for. Whereas the original one is like, oh, if they fuck up, oh look, Superman's here.
There he is.
It's like, oh, for fuck's sake,
faster than a speeding bullet.
Such a cop out, but it's I don't know. I think for the reshoots, I think is very much it's just for more diverse, sort of different in
a different tone through the acting,
different tone,
touch up some acting. I think another thing I found was they really wanted. Snyder really wanted this to kind of encapsulate probably everything he wanted to say for a lot of these characters.
Yeah.
Like it felt, I thought that this would feel like a part one to something that will never come, basically.
Yeah, I feel like this film actually made it possible for DC to have its own universe.
I think this allows the Snyderverse to really be its own thing, maybe on the side somehow, because there's definitely an audience for it.
Yeah. Well, the thing I like about it is the fact that there's obviously Zack Snyder is really good at cinematography and sort of like the color palettes and all that shit is beautiful. And the cinematography is just it's next level, and also how the CGI is not too flashy. Like it's not
too out of place.
Yeah, it's not like
it's the backgrounds.
It's not like like it's like what the fuck? It's just so like a giant.
It's not a bright purple with a high contrast background.
Yeah. It's very much like it's subtle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's very much like it matches the tone of the film.
Agreed.
And so that's why I think the remake of the Snyder Cut is actually a very good thing, and that it finally gave the people what they wanted in a Justice League movie.
Yeah. And I liked some of the more contemplative scenes that were added in.
Yeah.
Some of the more characters reflecting somberly over what's been happening to them, and I think there was some much needed character development added in.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that adds more. I think this film may have its place in a pantheon of interesting superhero films.
Yeah.
Because one thing that we've talked about before, I think, is sometimes studios allow these really interesting directors that maybe have a very out there career, a very different filmography to bring to these projects, these big bombastic superhero films. And I think Snyder has always been one that a lot of people had their eye on. But I think this is really the moment where he's taken his craft to another level, I would say.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's a more mature Snyder than before.
I also like the fact that he sort of he didn't use what is he didn't make like this sort of film as like a sort of like, oh look, I'm better, I'm a better director,
right?
You know what I mean? It's not, it's very much like, okay, you have this version, but I want to make my own version. Like I want to remake this film in my image.
It wasn't an ego project. It was a passion project.
Yeah, it's very much so. You could tell.
That's why it works.
Yeah, I think that's why. Yeah, that's also why like a lot of people gravitate towards it. I think because it's like also like I also talk about how, you know, his character is very much not like it wasn't ill will. Honestly, if it was, it wasn't reflected in his storytelling.
Yeah,
but like it's very much like, you know, do me this one solid. I want to like make this right. You know, I failed to deliver the first Justice League for you guys, and instead, you know what, we'll find a way to remake this.
Yeah, well, as best I think it bears some fruit to think about the fact that initially he left the project because of a terrible family tragedy.
Yeah,
and so I think this for him also allows him to close the book, maybe, into like, it gives him closure probably to be able to do this.
Yeah.
So I know that's something that he's wanted to do ever since that happened. And that's